I don't like Pokémon. It proceeds to tell all the lore in great detail with its Pokémon games and figures. Seriously, the Pokémon saga for me has been one of the greatest in my childhood and adolescence, since it not only opens the door to a new world full of magic and color, where a little dog can launch a wave of energy through his mouth, or people can resist flamethrowers as they were in Oscar or Rivadavia soon. Lies in an exaggeration, as they were in Argentina. Talking about Pokémon nowadays is not something easy, since there is a big division around the games lately. Some defend that the previous generation were better, others say that the new one add more to the formula, others just doesn't like the new design of the creature, and others like me don't care. As long as I can see a good series or you must have a release like Pokémon Arceus, it's fine for me. As far as I'm concerned, the first Pokémon were the perfect entrance for me. Yes, it was not easy, because my first game were Pokémon Crystal and Pokémon Sapphire, being the latest challenge in every way, since at that time I could not get the game in my native language, being clearly Spanish, and by God, as I was complicated the game. Following a simple instruction to go from one place to another made me get lost for hours both in cities and forests full of wild Pokémon. But there is always something good. Thanks to this game, I started my study in English. With dictionary in hand and eager to learn and overcome such a challenge, I ventured into Odyssey, which let me use a Kyogre level 89 and spend the whole game with him. Keeping in mind that I have no knowledge of the element division or how to do the things. I was just a dumb kid who wanted to become the best using a single move up sick. Thanks to the anime, I was able to enter more into that world, because in that time playing Pokemon in this country was quite expensive. The most you could get at a good price were the Tazos, that came out of the potato packets or poorly made Chinese figurines on the stores. The saga, both in anime, games and merchandise, has made a pot full of taste for me. But there is something that people don't take care very much into account. The manga and movies are another level around maturity is concerned. On the manga side, so far I started reading it and it has left me speechless, with stories like the origin of Red or Pokémon Reverse with its incredible transformation, which, if I had seen that as a child, I would have tried to replicate without hesitation. These kind of stories are a bit more difficult to adapt compared to movies, which, being a more accessible consumer media, could appear in any time or even as a Cartoon Network exclusive release. Pokémon so far has a record of 23 movies, some better than others of course, but each of them always have a certain aim in common. The heroes always win, even if they are facing the Antichrist in person. They can always find a solution to the conflict, either using some secret tool, using another Pokémon with the same power skills, or dying. You choose! But be clear, movies and games are totally different. While in games using a team of 6 basic Pokémon commanded by a brat, you can face the legendary of the moment, capture it, as if it were not the pillar of the Pokémon world and this disparity would not lead to a collapse in the laws of nature and order. No sir! In the world of movies, the legendaries both older and younger are a danger in the whole world. From being as basic as Celebi, who can return and use the time as they wish, to beings of antimatter which only want to be quiet in the day-to-day. But oh surprise, the young brothers want to fight. How cute! Some people will say that the movies have the same problem as the series, where an enemy team appears and plays the main villain. And yes, even though I really like the Rocket team and their interaction, there is something in the enemy teams in the movies that can be more terrifying. It's like the games, where you don't think the things throw and decide to summon a crazy super being to control it, and always aims overcoming them in every way. But in the games, there is always a protagonist capable of taking to the skies and the vast space to save the world from any threat. In the movies, on the other hand, Ash must face a being of colossal power, armed only with a yellow rat and a team that never evolves. It's quite a strong contrast, since the idea of the games is that you are the hero and you feel safe all the time, as if you were guided by the destiny to fulfill the goal of your existence. In the movies, you don't know what could happen, from Ash being frozen almost to death, drowned, petrified. Wait, how many times Ash has almost died? All Pokémon bring something to the mix of this immense world which Game Freak has created in the likeness. But there is something that always caught my attention: the gods or mythical being in this world. Not even the simple fact that people can see at any time their god damage the space-time barrier with their abilities, but people can capture them and use it in basic competition or tournaments. Nothing like see Tobias with 2 legendary to his name fighting against all competitors including our protagonist. I always deviated from the main topic a little bit. How about we start talking about the movie that brings us to this video? The movie of Hirachi and the Wishes came out in 2003, more specifically in July 19 in Japan. Well, they dub, the film came to my country on October 20, 2008, being the perfect time for me. See, by those years I was quite small, but with a mind with ability to remember everything I liked. And by God, yes, that gave me a good impression of this movie, and more when I see the monster of the story. I'm getting ahead. Despite following the direction to the letter, Ash and company are around a completely empty closure. With a trace of life, disappointed and exhausted, our heroes decide to feast by the embers of the campfire. As they rest, a distant sound alerts them. Intrigued, they approach to the cliff and witness one of the most impressive scenes I ever seen, a demonstration of efficient work on its best. Multiple trucks arrive with structures of all kinds, and in a matter of hours, a splendid amusement park comes to life. From constant roller coasters, carousels, and tents to a small stalls, and a mysterious man using his magic. In less than a few hours, a park full of Pokémon wonders become a reality. The construction is so advanced that they even install train tracks to facilitate the arrival of visitors from other parts of the region. If they are able to do all of this for a festival, I don't even want to imagine what they would be capable of someone pissed them off. Of course, Ash and company can resist and decide to witness Butler's incredible show, who had already made an appearance by building his tent, thus showing off his amazing skills. Butler performed one of the best Pokémon performances, using tricks and illusions that only a psychic Pokémon could perform. However, something strange happened. Max hears a small voice in his head, saying, "Wishes, the star." The voice comes from the asteroid, an object Butler took in his search for something that would make his dream come true. That dream was born for a betrayal. Butler, a skilled magician and scientist, was part of the Team Magma, one of the worst villain corporations in the saga. His mission was to reset Groudon, using a small scale for a legendary Pokémon. However, when he activated his machine, it did not generate any positive results due to the enormous amount of energy required. Butler had an ambitious idea to create a copy of Groudon for a part of the original and control it at will. But when his experiment failed in front of everyone, he was banished and his plan destroyed. Seeking revenge and redemption, he would do whatever it took to achieve his goal. By the way, Butler gave the rock to Max to give light. I forgot to comment that part. Now, let's continue. Whoa! This brings us to the present. Upon discovering Hirachi, Butler sees a new opportunity. Hirachi has the power to transform wishes into matter. Although, in the movie only his ability to teleport objects is mentioned, Max innocently asks him for a candy, and Hirachi, having slept for over 1,000 years, grants his wish with period candy. As we know it, this raises a question: does Hirachi possess cosmic knowledge? Is he aware of his surroundings? Can he read minds and visually people's wishes? The only thing that is clear is that he teleported out an overwhelming amount of candy, without anyone knowing where it came from. This is the mystery of the week. Well, moving on, let's skip all the unnecessary parts. Things like the villain revealed his true invention, the gear is not to ally with him and take Hirachi to his resting place and origin, blah blah blah. Let's go ahead. This is the part that concerns us. Here starts the magic. Hirachi prepares to open an eye and release an immense source of energy towards the asteroid. As he does so, the asteroid responds by emitting the missing energy. With his task accomplished, Hirachi prepares to enter his 1,000-year slumber. But at that moment, the villain bursts into the scene and executes the most predictable abduction in all of the animation. Effortlessly captures Hirachi and places it in his gigantic machine. His goal is to summon the most incredible being ever created, using all the energy of Hirachi to let comet. However, just the process is about to be complete, Ash interrupts the cycle, causing an unexpected twist. The resurrection or cloning results in something completely different. The cliff designed for destruction begins to transform into something else, something unpredictable. From nothing, a being made of energy begins to emerge, but no any kind of energy. This is only negative energy, a total reflection of what Hirachi is. A beast with incredible abilities to look up. Groudon Virus is born. Groudon Virus displayed its full potential by extending sharp bones, transforming them into tentacles. His purpose? To destroy everything in his path. absorbing any life form that crosses its path. With each step, Meat merely presents drain the energy from everything around it, with its tentacles trap those creatures that try to escape their imminent fate. Despite trying to protect his loved one, Butler saw firsthand the mistake he had made. His creation not only consumed everything around him, but also watched as his dear friend, a life partner, was consumed in tears. That's when one of my favorite Pokémon makes a big appearance, Flygon. He doesn't belong to any trainer, but he seemed to understand his mission perfectly. Not only does he help our heroes escape the cruel fate of the others, he also helps them get closer to the machine. Not only does he fly with incomparable grace, surpassing even Butler's elements, Flygon defends our heroes from being consumed multiple times, without a doubt the MVP for entire movie. Back in action, Ash and his friend attempt to reverse the machine with the help of the Butler, who explains they can reverse the polarity to absorb the monster energy and return it to the Hirachi. To achieve this, Ash, Max, and Flygon must destroy Groudon virus while Butler reconfigures the system, or Helios execute risky maneuvers under the tiny monster, buying the necessary time. Finally, Butler managed to complete the machine. Now, he only needs to place Hirachi inside, but Groudon spots them, launching powerful attacks toward the machine. Butler rushes toward Hirachi in imminent consummation, getting trapped in Groudon tentacles. With his last breath he pronounced his last words, "So, I can be with Diane." With his last strike, Ash lowers the lever to activate the machine, and that instant a white energy descends to the ground and begins to resonate with Groudon virus. Seeing itself cornered, the creature tries to launch one last attack against Hirachi, but it's too late. Its body begins to decompose and melt on the boys. Hirachi, full of energy and determination, proceeds to throw the monstrosity into the air and once for all. Thanks to Hirachi, all the consuming creatures were back to normal, and what seems to be the end of the road for everyone became a ray of hope for the next adventure. This movie, for me, is one of the most special. Not only does it show how dangerous the Pokémon world can be, but it also opens the door to theorize and how possible to create an alternate reality in that universe. Sorry for taking so long to create this video. I've been learning more techniques and ways to surprise you in some way or another. If you like the video, please give me a like. With that I will know if you like the content. Without anything else to say, goodbye. Your friend with wishes in mind Cosmolate, say it.